Oh, okay.
So it had to be somebody,
Oh, yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes.
okay, okay.
I think police was.
Well, you look very nice.
All right. Since it's 4 o'clock, the August 11th, 2015 Recreation and Parks meeting will come to order. If Commissioner Spry would lead us in the flag.
I'm sure this is really a nice touch. Whoops,
Yes, I didn't have to take Jim's. So roll.
Roll call. Commissioner Velasco.
Here.
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 Here. The minutes of the June 9th, 2015 meeting have been distributed. Has everybody had a chance to read through them?
Second.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All
Were
those
you
in-
here, Kurt?
Yeah.
Oh,
All those in
For
favor?
a change.
So maybe I should make the motion.
Oh,
okay.
I know we're allowed to,
Oh,
even if
really?
we weren't here, but the minutes look fine. Yeah.
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 Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, they've been approved. Do we have any public comment slips?
Not received any.
All righty, then, anybody? Any new business?
New business, I would like to introduce Scott Christian. He's our special district supervisor. We've been here, starting his fourth week, I think. So I've asked him to say a little bit about him, bring us up to speed a little bit about himself. He's recently from the city of Sassoon, up in Northern California, and we've had Scott off and running since he's got here. I don't think I've even let his feet hit the ground yet. So Scott, if you don't mind, just a little background on yourself and
From where up north?
I never heard of Suisun either before I went to work there. Bigger cities nearby would be Fairfield, Travis Air Force Base. My office was right underneath the plane, so it's very back of the East Bay. Exactly the same environment as here, pretty much. There's a little difference coming down the coast, but they're both considered a sunset zone. 15, 16. I mean, I'm talking to people that would know what I mean by that. So very similar plant material and stuff. But anyway, I actually moved there for that job. I've spent most of my career in the San Luis Obispo area. I was born in Santa Barbara County, at Cottage Hospital. So I'm a local boy, and so I'm happy to be back. So, about me, I have a degree in horticulture from Cal Poly, San Luis. I am a certified arborist, a certified municipal arborist, landscape contractor. I have my pesticide license, and I'm a certified playground inspector. So all kinds of good kinds of things that cities like to see. But this is what I do. I like plants, and so this has been my career. I see this as a great opportunity. I've been received very open-armed and yes, and very busily, which is what I like, So I'm learning as I go, I don't know. That obviously I'm a plant person. That I was out working with guys today for a while and sort of escaped. I like doing that, but I like to foster the plants in the urban environment and the trees. I think that's a very important thing. So that's sort of my passion.
So you're in charge of trees?
Here, no, we have an urban forester, but I'm going to be complimenting him because I have skills that are similar.
Bailey Hutz challenges race top tree. Don't go.
Have you figured out how to make grass grow without water?
Yeah, that's a challenge. obviously we're facing right now. So we'll see. But I like challenges. Water conservation, I think, is something that's important. I've studied it for a long time. I hope to bring some of those skills here. It's already being enacted, but we'll keep up in our game because we have to.
Well, it's good to see the city kind of taking the lead or being a role model for cutting back. And
Yeah, we
and
are.
you can see that, obviously. Unfortunately, you can see that all over the city.
Right. So I know our hope now is with that limited water to maximize its effects. So we see the negative effects a little bit less.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome back.
Yeah.
All right. Do we have any old business? I don't have anything on the agenda.
No old business?
All right, so we can begin with the budget update on the informational reports from Teresa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The report that you have before you is the final report for fiscal year 2014-15. With that said, the city makes adjustments up until the time of October, and that's when they have to do the consolidated financial report that audits the entire city. So you'll see some innocuous changes, nothing significant, but just know it is still a little bit of a moving document. I'm very pleased to say that we came in at about 3% under budget, and that is a very judicious number that's just about right to be good stewards of public funds. With that being said, we were able to offer programs and take care of our facilities and maintain our parks. A lot of us being able to do that is because of vacancies. It takes a while for the vacancies to be filled, so that helps us with the cost savings too. With that said, we are also, now that we have a management analyst that is helping with the hiring process, we are slowly but surely moving temporary staff over to city payroll. I pulled up the report that we shared with city manager's office when we proposed this, and the maximum savings that we could get from this if we moved every position over is up to $300,000 a year.
Wow.
So it'll be nice to see some of that money coming back to us. So is there any questions on any of the numbers?
If I can ask,
Certainly.
if we're under budget by 3%, is that a rollover next
No, it is cost savings.
cost savings to the city?
Correct, to the general fund.
Because that comes out to almost $264,000 the way I figure it.
Yes, but we have an opportunity to ask for that funding again during the next two-year budget.
And how is the hiring going? Are most of your positions filled that we had to put on hold for so long?
Right now, I believe our management analyst is working on the after-school safety and education program. That is a big group of folks that are recreation leaders. And with that being said, the Santa Maria Bonita School District opened up another school, Jimenez School, and they asked the YMCA, the Santa Maria Valley Boys and Girls Club, and Recreation and Parks if we'd like to submit a proposal. So we conferred with our director, Alex Posada, and he suggested we put in a proposal, and we received the bid. So we now will have 7 ACES sites. So if we're successful in moving all the people that work at those 7 sites over to city payroll, that'll be a very significant effort.
The bid, is that the school picks who, out of the
Yes.
3 agencies?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just have a question, not at all questioning. You do a fabulous job and it all makes perfect sense. Just on the categories that are actually over the budgeted amount, do those tend to be unforeseen emergencies that have to be dealt with? Or do they tend to be, as the year shifts, one thing demands something more than the underfunded categories?
I think it's a combination of both. And the way we look at the budgets, and I know finance doesn't agree with it, the way, but we look at it as all combined. So sometimes we help out this budget area things, but and I think a lot of it, like in the administrative, that is where the park rangers are or have
Right,
been.
and that was
there's a
where-
lot of training in that area that, a lot of new rangers coming in, a lot of additional training this past year.
Okay, thank you.
there.
I was just curious if there was anything, a major unforeseen that,
Well,
okay.
and then like the facilities, a lot of that is staffing. We had an increase in programs, an increase in rentals. So a lot of that was offset by revenue too, that was unexpected.
Okay.
There.
And I may have misunderstood you. The way the business department here wants it, would like to see it done, is every one of them should be at 100% or under, correct?
Right,
Correct.
They don't allow you to be creative and solve problems, is what's,
but, so,
Well, but there seems to be some of that.
yeah, there is, yeah.
well, I'd say a lot.
You know, but we have to
They must
justify.
be
we have-
getting away with it.
That's because we came in under, we've come in under, so there's a little
Totally,
more
yeah, totally in
flexibility.
it.
And,
Right,
and
we-
I need, we do need to provide justification as to why we can't just go over, we do have to provide that justification.
And over the years, depending on who was the finance director and what their preferences were in conjunction with the city manager, I know when I was in charge of the budget at utilities, it was a line item budget and you did not go over. And you could not look at it as one big pot. Of course, they have 4 different funds in that department. But now we are trusted as a target budget, so we look at the bottom line and are able to move money around as needed.
It's very nice.
Yeah, you know,
Particularly in a recreation and parks environment.
That way we're able to respond to the needs that are out there and unexpected.
for years, in fact, as far back as I can remember, you've always been come in at the end of the year under budget. Do you have the flexibility then when you're putting a new budget together to, that the fact that you came in under budget is not a consideration, you can still develop a whole new budget?
That's correct, a whole new budget.
Good. I would hate to see you penalized by being frugal.
Well, they really are, because they take away your savings, so.
Yeah, well, I've worked for other agencies though, where what they've done is they've saved, say if we save 250,000, they've reduced your target budget next year by 250,000.
Right, and that's what I was concerned about.
And so, to me, that's a bigger penalty than
Yes.
we were able to save. Yeah,
And ask
yeah.
Well, and in fact, that's what that whole thing encourages is spending over budget, because,
does.
well, then the opposite is true. Well, now we'll get more money next year, so.
And there's never any guarantees about money. I was a little facetious on that. Everything has to be justified, calculated out, and on the rare event that we do go over a line item, it's usually because there was a request from the public that they wanted some additional park facility, something additional at that facility, or a new program. So it gives us an opportunity to be reactive with the public.
And this is just a side thing, but with the water shortage, stories I hear, we're losing trees. Maybe not here, but in national parks, state parks, and all the rest, because there's no water and it damages the trees and they come down. Which then furthers that contract with the tree removal people that do our trees. And so that would be an area that could go up, so you have to have money from someplace.
Well, actually, our tree trimming funds come from either landscape districts' budgets or the other portion is funded through gas tax. It's not through the general fund.
So it doesn't come out of yours at all.
Well, we're given a budget to manage, but it's not out of the general fund dollars. It's out of individual funds. So, and there are restrictions on which trees we can trim with it. But yeah.
7B is my favorite new addition, the noteworthy activities, and it's for July 2015. Busy summer.
Yeah, basic pages, 6, 7, and 8 are the activities. Just a couple things, and let's probably jump down to one of the items I have later. The Pocket Park, or the mall across the street, that was what Scott got here, and I said, get it done. And he's been working with community development and getting that in. So we've got the first section done. We're expecting to be done by the middle of next week with the other section. And the theme, working with community development, what they're looking at is trying to do the row crop and kind of tie that to Santa Maria Valley row crop. So it's, let's see there, and then added a lot more trees than originally were planned. And so that's been the fun part, digging the holes deep enough and wide enough and avoiding utilities. And I said the fun part because I'm not doing it.
Was there a reason for that drive-through? What's that for?
Oh, that was been scheduled for drop-off, and you can drive in, pick your kids up, or drop them off for the theater.
Are they using it?
It is now, it's been corrected. Originally, there was issues with the slope of the exit, and so it's been closed, but now, and the way it interfaced with the sidewalk, and those have been corrected within the last couple of months, and it's now open and being used.
They're still circling around Macy's.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I'd like to just mention is, and I'll let Teresa take it from here, but, as you know, every year we use the Adam Basin for parking for the fair. And this year we had a surprise rain. It caught a lot of people on a Saturday morning by surprise at 6 o'clock, and it started filling up. So they heard and gathered their stuff. Well, at the base of all the ramps, it's created giant mud puddles, and it's created a challenge for staff to get those areas back in shape, in addition to the fact that we're limited with the amount of water we put down to germinate the seed. But they've done a pretty good job. They're working hard at it, and we got the youth soccer league. It'll start the second Saturday of September, and they'll be ready to go then. So
It looks great. I think it looks fantastic.
I did too. Went over by Adam, I went by and fence is still up.
Jim, that last sentence under the Parks Division, it says Sunday's events were canceled due to, is that lighting or lightning?
Oh, lightning.
Lightning, okay.
Yeah, it should be lightning.
What lighting was the problem?
Yeah, the sun wasn't bright enough. No, that way we had the thunderstorms that weekend,
Okay.
and the swimming, USA Swimming canceled, the referees canceled the
It was that same weekend that.
same weekend.
Yeah. Then one other question, kind of related to parks and the whole water situation. I've had a couple of people ask me if the city of Santa Maria ever intends to provide any incentives for, like some other cities have done, to do drought-tolerant landscaping.
I've not heard of any. I would recommend them contact Utilities Division, because there is a water conservation specialist. We've actually had for several years. And I don't know their extension.
Her name's Myra Ritchie.
What's the name again?
Myra Ritchie, Ritchie.
So if I get those questions and refer people to her, she might be able to.
And I know that Utilities has a Facebook page, which people are on all the time, and they're constantly updating it with information and contact, and she's out a lot, Myra.
I think there's probably also opportunity for the county, Kirk,
Is there?
for incentives.
Even though you're inside the city
Yes.
limit? Okay.
You're still considered the county.
Well, see, from my perception, what's kind of scary, people are afraid to do anything about taking lawn out because they'll get it all out, and then they'll come along and pay you to take yours out and say, wait a minute, sorry, here's where the program is. So I've seen a lot of dead yards, but not as much as I thought I would see. I didn't want to be first, not get paid.
And the new radio show?
Well, it's not exactly a radio show, and I have one of the, it's a Rec and Parks Minute. As you know, for many years we did a 30-minute show. It is pretty difficult to sound wise for 30 minutes without putting people to sleep.
Difficult for me.
So when
Sound-wise.
the gentleman that we did the radio show from El Dorado retired, we decided to make a change, and at the time, American General Media is the top-rated station. He gave us a great deal. So what we're doing is we're trying to brand the department with 30-second commercials, and I'm going to try to play one for you here that I emailed to myself. So let's see if I can make this work for you, because there's nothing like listening to it. So what happens is we get a certain amount of commercials. I set out a proposal for each of you. But the beauty of it is when they use our commercials as fillers. So I've heard them at 11 o'clock at night, 6 in the morning. And so it seems to be working out pretty well. Let me just pull up my AOL here.
You're out pretty late.
Yeah, I get insomnia. Here's one. Let's see if I can get it over the microphone here. You could do a filler right now while I'm searching. I'm just kidding. Okay, it's downloading.
You could go on to any official business. Anybody's attended?
While she's doing her thing.
Yeah. Has anybody done anything official?
Thank you, Laura. Okay, here we go.
Everything's been unofficial.
The only thing I would say, it's nothing official of any kind. I feel bad
Hi,
about.
this is Ana Mejia, Facility Specialist for the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Department. This is today's Recreation and Parks Minute, sponsored by the People for Leisure and Youth Incorporated and the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Department. Brush up on your parenting skills. Whether you have children or work with children, the Parent Summer School class will be a great way to learn new discipline strategies that will help you be a better parent, teacher, or mentor. Parent Summer School class takes place at Minami Community Center, 600 West Enos Drive in Santa Maria on Thursday, July 23rd and 30th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. The class is also offered in Spanish on Tuesday, July 14th and 21st. For more information, call 925-0951 extension 260 or visit www.cityofsantamaria.org. This has been today's Recreation and Parks Minute from the City of Santa Maria Recreation and Parks Department and Play Incorporated. Remember, recreation and parks make life better.
Nice, yeah, it's moving right along.
It's great. And so for the Spanish stations, it's a Spanish message?
We have 3 options, and you see the demographics there, so we can choose as to which pot that it best fits in.
Great. I love
That
it.
is neat.
So
That'll be have a lot more easily seen.
Exactly.
Than the 30 minutes,
Exactly.
and a lot less work.
Yes.
So do you, that one was the parenting camp. Is there a different message
Well,
or a different
with
program?
Concerts in the Park, we ran one for 3 weeks just to get that going. But we want to start getting the Parks Division involved, talking about the parks amenities, bring the family out. So anything, any topic that we
Want to push?
wish.
Yeah. Okay,
Great.
that's great.
I like that.
No, you didn't interrupt me. But I really feel bad with all the activities going on that I make so few of them. And I've been out of town for 3 different weeks, 3-4 days. But so much goes on, I feel like I'm letting staff down on recognizing the work they're doing. And not to be at Oakley Park was a sin, but I wasn't in town. And
It's difficult. You guys do so much.
I know it. I don't know how you
National
keep track
Night
of
Out,
it.
I forgot completely about it, and I got a text
Yeah.
message from a friend saying, "What are you guys doing over here near the mall?" And I thought, "What am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing." So it is a lot, but I do appreciate, and I know we got it late because we missed our July meeting, but I do appreciate this component of our agenda just to kind of keep us updated, because I'm always referring to that guide, but I feel like it doesn't quite have everything. Rec and Parks is all over the place.
This thing here has so much stuff in it that it's
Right.
not even funny.
Do I dare back us up just a minute with a question?
Sure.
Okay. It shouldn't be a long question, but looking at the mall, I know that the contract, the city pays for everything related to landscape and everything related to the parking structure. Is that right?
Correct.
So I'm just curious, when I saw this, do the sales tax dollars that come in from mall purchases or the property taxes that they pay, do they sync up with the special districts or CDBG? I know not CDBG because that comes from the state or federal. Is there any sync up of those two things so that in effect the mall has investment in those things too?
My understanding of the way it's done is we propose a budget that we'll need to maintain the landscaping, the parking structure, staffing, those type of things. And then there's a general fund allocation. It's not part of the special districts. Special districts have their own funding source.
But does
And
the mall pay into a special district?
no, they do not.
The mall only owns the buildings, they don't own the land around it, right?
Correct. They own from the curb, we maintain from the curb face out,
To the
and then across the street, we did a little, there's, from the sidewalk out, when you're looking at the corner, we've got landscaping. We're basically where there's grass now, that's the mall's area responsibility, landscaping, and then we took the grass out in our area and are redoing the new plantings.
I was just curious, without getting into the details, I just wondered if that was ever synced up or looked at.
Oh, and it was all part of the redevelopment agency when that was all established, and there's an agreement about like this.
Yeah, I know that's the case, and I'm not interested in meddling in the details. I just wondered, long-term, if that ever syncs up and works out in any kind of beneficial way.
That's
That
it.
there's a
Something.
symbiotic relationship, I guess.
Who did the artwork? The tile thing out here?
I don't recall the name of the artist, but it
No,
was a...
but I mean, is that a city project?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the actual art pieces that were supposed to go there that we moved to the lawn bowling.
Well, there's also the one here on the corner. Yeah, that was part of the Pocket Park, and that's part of the monies for that. The artwork there was part of that. I don't recall who the artists were.
Same way with the overpasses, because they put in what, at least one, maybe two new overpasses with tiles?
Yeah, but those are separate, I'm not sure.
Oh.
I
That's
think-
for Getty High
I was
School
gonna-
art,
yes.
but that's technically county. There was something in one of our packets a couple of months ago that named the artist that did the tiles.
I remember that.
I can't remember the name.
Because Hancock was really active in the first ones that went
I think it
over.
was Hancock.
Oh.
I think it
Somebody
was that
from
did the tiles.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
Sure. So National Night Out, I didn't make it.
I was in Madera.
Yeah. How
Good
was it?
publicity. I wasn't there either, but it got good publicity.
Yeah.
It was great. Last year, we had it at the Veterans Memorial Community Center, but there's an effort with the potential revision of the downtown specific plan to have more activities in this area. It was a nice visible spot for it. It was a little windy at the vets. It's a little easier with the big trees in the building to break that windfall. But it was very well attended. The staff put it together in a very short period of time. We worked with the police department to promote the law enforcement. This is a national effort that's done throughout the United States. So it was very well attended, and we thank our Parks Division for making us all look good, because they're the ones that set up those Michael Jackson fencing, we call it, and set everything up for us. So it's a joint effort.
Great.
You get more parking here than you do at the vets.
True, that's true.
A lot more. Does the school district open up that parking lot out there if we have a big event?
We have joint use agreements with the Santa Maria Bonita School District, so yes, that's always a possibility. Excuse my cold here.
The Oakley Park dedication ceremony.
What'd you say?
Pardon me?
Moving on, I'm sorry, to 7E on the Oakley Park dedication ceremony.
Well, I think you're probably very qualified to talk about that for those that weren't there.
More good publicity.
It was well attended. It was nice. And it was nice to see everybody come together and see another picture of what it's going to look like. And I think there's a lot of enthusiasm for the event. And
Little League is happy, and
Yeah. Good, yeah.
is it going to be a big restroom?
A little larger than our standard park restroom.
Locked up at night, just like the rest of the parks.
Correct.
Somebody asked me if if they wanted to donate picnic benches in honor or memory of. Is that a possibility for that park?
I would, yeah, they'd probably do it through Play.
Okay.
That's what the Play does stuff like that. And,
Okay, so-
definitely could make that happen.
Okay. Yeah, I had a few. I was saying that I had a lot of good feedback about the park, and that was one of the questions I got. If they could donate like something.
Yeah, and the only thing that, to make a donation, one of the things to try to people aware of is when they're looking at making a donation, say for a park site, realizing you're not looking at the type of bench that you would use at home where it has minimal use. It's going to be a little more costly because we're looking for something that's going to take a lot of wear and tear. And it's just the nature of being outdoors and the traffic. It's not necessarily abuse. So
Right.
sometimes people are caught a bit off guard by that when they say they're expecting, say, to donate $100 for a bench because they saw that at a local store, and then I come back and say it's going to be $600.
Right.
So.
You know, for me, the thing that's most significant about Oakley Park is you and I have both been working for the city for a long time, and there have been errors. There have been times when we reach out to the community more so than we have in the past, and I think that was definitely a time when we were doing the town hall meetings. The city council was very open to that. Mayor Patino was very supportive of it, and everything that is going on at Oakley Park came directly from the people. And not just Oakley Park, but some of the surrounding issues in that area. They wanted more programming in the parks. They wanted the garage sales that are on every street to diminish, and code enforcement got involved. So to me, that's really an example of a community that is willing to hear some things that we may not necessarily want to hear, but take that on and actually make them happen.
I think that there's real enthusiasm for helping that area. I think there's been some heartache and tragedy over there, and I think that the entire community really wants to see improvement and
See, that area
Positive
too,
space.
particularly right in around the school, is not a transit area. Those people have lived there since the beginning. And so I think those types of people really welcome it. A transit family, you can't blame them for not getting too excited because they may have to move and go someplace else. But it's a very stable community over there.
right. And so, do you have some information, Mr. Davis, about the construction activity?
They're moving right along, and they've turned off the water of the park, and so right now they're on schedule. And
Today?
yeah, as of
I
today.
got to say that today.
Yeah. And their goal is to be done before opening day of Little League.
Great.
They've been, engineering division has been working very closely with the West Side Little League for their opening day, and they delayed the start of construction to accommodate their West Side Little League's current season that just ended. So
Has there been any discussion with Santa Maria Bonita about more of a friendly joint use?
Yeah, I was going
They
to
have a
say
new
that
administration in
just
there.
because like the day before you closed it, that park was full of people practicing playground. I mean, they were out there till the sun came down, and I just thought, where are all these people going to go? Because they are out there, or they were out there every day playing,
and that's
and it's like there's
typical.
this big piece of land that they could use, and they're not able to. And that's really sad.
No, we've not had any discussions with.
I just mention it because there's a new administration coming in at the district office, and maybe the ears might be hearing different. I don't know. Of course, you need board change too, but nonetheless, I think the conversation take place. Every board member I've ever talked to is really surprised when I tell them about the impact that's happened to children with those fences they put up. Like, where were you at the meeting? It kind of throws me off. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, I just mentioned that because I think that really is something we got to look at. We got to look at.
I'm ready, and I've heard a lot of interest in participating in an effort to reach out to the board, and also maybe asking that board to consider some of those qualities in the person they're going to be hiring. And I don't think that hiring process
You mean
is...
that are working with ACES?
No, for joint use agreement.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, okay.
Right. So looking at qualities that are more inclusionary for an administrator.
Well, I haven't followed through, but I've offered it. And I would like to go and introduce you to Jody Oliver, Fidenzio Brunello, one at a time, so we don't overload them. And just say, these are some concerns, and I don't know if you're, because when I talked to Jody Oliver, she was like I blindsided her. She kept looking at me. Didn't know that, didn't know that, didn't know that. And that's not to say somebody's pulling the wool over their eyes over there, but a lot of times, public safety is one of the biggest excuses we have now. Do it without talking to anybody. We can just put up fences and shoot people because everybody, that's a big topic of conversation. But anyway,
Right.
I offer that to anybody that wants to go, and you can go on your own. Those people sit and talk with you for, Jody's very, and they're in for another year. Not till next year do they
Right.
run for.
Right. And that'll be a big one. That'll be a big one. Mall landscape update, Mr. Davis?
I think I covered that a minute ago in the
Yeah.
reports, but yeah, we're moving right along, and again, we should be done by the middle of next week.
Great. Back to any official business or unofficial business?
Well, certainly it's not official business, but you know, once again, I say this every year, but it amazes me the work that the Rec and Parks and Parks Division do for those concerts in the park. I mean, Sunday was probably one of the best attended concerts they've ever had, I think, or at least right up there among them. But yet the next morning, it's like nobody was even there except for a little matted down grass.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your staff do an incredible job of cleaning up after those things, given the number of people that are around there. And the neighborhoods weren't dirty either. You would expect to see, you know, debris as people are walking back to their cars, but it just wasn't there. So, once again, great job.
The next day in the same area looked like the beginning of Little League football. We're everywhere.
Yeah.
A huge group of cheerleading little girls. I don't know if you saw that, Kirk.
No, I didn't see it the next morning.
Well, there's 3 different things that are happening there. I actually walked around and talked to some people because it was so big and the band was so popular, we actually went over for the first time, and I was having some trepidation about that.
Yeah, I tried to convince Teresa to go an extra hour.
Yes. I had 2 commissioners asking for that. And people that overheard some of the things we were saying said, well, we live on that side, and we don't care if you play all night long. I said, but there are others that do so.
Yeah.
Right.
And thank you for the compliment on the staff, but probably some of Jim's staff come in the morning and pick up everything that we miss. So there's a joint effort. And the clientele that we've been getting at the concerts, no matter where they are in town, and the movies in the park, they're so appreciative. When we were setting up for the first movie in the park at Presker, it was a brand new staff, and it was the first time for all of them. When we were struggling with the setup a little bit, the audience was there. Can we help you? They were totally amazing. They wanted to help us. They wanted to put up the screen. So it's just a really good vibe with the folks that are coming to those things. And then we have our Parks Division to support us when we don't have enough hands to pick everything up.
I think there was more than 1,000 people.
Wow.
There had to have
Easily,
been.
right?
There was a lot.
Yeah.
And no problems, not one issue.
Yeah, it was
No.
a lot of fun.
And at Rotary today, it was brought up how appreciative they were to be included on the banners, and that thought that the parks did Rec and Parks did a great job of including partners of that. I think most everybody in the room.
That's
That would be
great.
good.
That's very good.
The old adage, people like to see their affiliation.
Right.
And, yeah, it's true. So congratulations.
Do they get that special section every concert or just one concert?
We sell those at auctions,
Oh, okay.
and I could sell them to you too.
Came up today, too.
Somebody was asking me,
That
how do
goes-
they get that area?
That goes back to play, and that's one of our ways we are able to provide scholarships for the day camp program, which almost everyone in the program has some level of a scholarship.
What do they auction?
Spaces at the concert.
VIPs.
That's awesome, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great thing to do.
Yeah, it's those darn shaded things that block out the view that you'd expect.
You don't have to be there 3 hours early to reserve
Yeah.
a spot. Yeah, my brother said he got there at 7 to put up his canopy, and that there was already people there
Yeah, they were-
reserving.
They start
a
early in
spot.
the morning.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, because he just lives across the street. So I just went because it was going to be a lot of us. He said there was already people here putting up their chairs and stuff.
Jeez.
Great. Well, it's been a little while, but the Meritorious Awards I thought were very, very well attended. I thought it
once
was
again.
great all around.
I was there the week before.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Early.
Oh, there was confusion on the dates. I did
There-
have
there-
something wrong in my notes, and
Yeah,
then
there
when we
was a
got to
typo
the-
there.
yeah.
Right.
So I showed up down at the Maldonado, and their staff looked at me like, no,
You didn't have to reserve a spot.
here tonight. And so,
Oh, it was nice.
anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we could face east, though. I saw the people in the
They
one
were
side of the
like
room
Sun. It happened
get
last
the
year.
sunburn.
really?
Yeah, so maybe if we could just do
I
the
did
whole
not
thing.
notice that.
Or
Thank
face
you.
the stage.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I know something too, and you guys might be aware of this, and maybe I said it before. When school doesn't let out, the city invite sixth graders headed for junior high, and they come down for open house here at the Maldonado Center, showing them all the stuff they get to participate in when they go to the junior high school, which I thought was really neat. Kids are looking all over at stuff. Obviously, they're taken with the soda pop machine. I called sister on it. And candy and stuff. But they were just well behaved. The teachers were well behaved, and it went well. And you know how they can be. Yeah. Anyway, I was impressed with that. I thought that's pretty clever. But that's one of the little things that are always going on around here, and I feel like, gee, many crickets, they do a lot.
Yeah.
Anything else to report?
If I could just put something on your radar screen that's been tentatively agendized for City Council. You probably recall all of our fee proposals that you reviewed.
Yes.
And so we've weaved that together into one report, and it's tentatively agendized for September 22nd. And it would be a public hearing conducted by the City Council. and they would review the facility fees that Jim's staff came up with and policies and addendums. We have the city council mandate from back in 1973, I think it is, where the director can implement inflationary increases. You may recall we have not had a blanket increase in the last 18 years. So we're looking at city council to ratify that. And then the third part of that very long agenda report that we're trying to condense is that we'll have city council give us direction on what to do with the sports athletic fields and make some recommendations to them. So if that date happens to change, I'll let you know, but it would be great to have you all there.
Teresa, is that, when you say recommendations on sports fields, are you saying feedback on what's been proposed? Are you saying completely different ideas?
No, it's what you've reviewed previously.
Okay, so it's feedback on what you've proposed. Okay.
That's the 5%.
Well, actually, it's what I'm specifically inquiring about is how they go about allocating field
okay.
space.
And that is going to be one of the items that Mr. Posada is asking for direction on from
Okay.
City Council.
Okay.
All right, if there isn't any further business, we will.
One more thing.
Oh, yes.
One more thing. Autumn Arts Grapes and Grains, mark your calendar, October 3rd. This festival will be in its 32nd year.
Oh, goodness.
So what we're trying to change things up this year. The Chamber's coming back as a sponsor and working with us, which is fantastic. We've talked to some of the nicer wineries, and they are coming back for wine tasting, which we haven't had a full-on wine tasting in a while. There's been a few, but not like we once had. I believe we're going to move that portion to Elks Field, where there's grassy area, more music. Cindy Hoskins and her staff are working on a Color Me Fall Scarecrow contest that maybe the merchants can get involved with.
That's awesome.
We spoke with Amber Lease at the mall to see if they could do a autumn sale at the same time. The trolley will be there. The Chamber has agreed to move forward with packages in the hotels, and then the trolley would come by and pick everyone up. So it's kind of a make or break year. It's a transitional move we're making because you sometimes either need to give special events a new punch so that it doesn't become stale, or maybe just change it and do something totally different or do away. So this is going to be kind of an experiment for us. But I'm really excited. A lot of really good ideas. The staff has their creative hats on, and the creative juices are flying.
The scarecrow contest?
Pardon
The
me?
scarecrow contest?
Yes.
That's a great idea. I know
Yes.
they do it in Los Olivos.
And in Cambria also.
Yeah, I got to help with the scarecrow last year, and I was like, wait, what are we doing? And she was telling me a little bit about what they do. The wineries in Los Olivos do it. And I was like, that would be great. So it's great to hear that somebody thought about that here.
Teresa, too, I'm glad to hear you mention trolley, because I've looked for that sucker all over and I've never seen it. So I assume they're running someplace.
It's my understanding when I talk to the Public Works folks that just about the time that Autumn Arts Festival was happening, that it's going to be on its route, which just would bring them right down here to the downtown center. So,
That's what I was just thinking of. It'd be nice if even they went into the J.C. Penney's center, picked up people who parked their cars there and brought them in. It's terrible to get in this place for parking.
well, they do have some restrictions, it's my understanding, because it's federal transit money, so there's a lot of strings. And it has to go within a certain area.
But just
before-
one
It
day.
can't just go
We can
to
say we're
random
sorry.
spots. It has to be a routine. But if you have more questions about that, certainly I am not the expert, and Austin Odell is the transit manager, and he could probably answer your questions much more so than I can.
But you know so much about everything.
A little bit about nothing.
Just one more thing for official business, I should have said, when Alex wasn't here, I decided we'd wait. But I know Buena Vista Beautifiers is wanting a spot on an upcoming agenda to give a report, and I may be completely out of the loop, but it seems like maybe we're looking for feedback from the commission on conceptual drawings.
Yeah, excuse me. The next beautifiers meeting, September 11th, and Alex is planning to be there. He's asked to be a presenter or talk to the committee on that, so.
I got an email yesterday asking for a place on the agenda. I think the last set of minutes was maybe going to be a city council item, but then I emailed Alex, isn't that getting the cart before the horse? Doesn't it need to come to the commission? He said yes. So I know he's not here, and I don't think there's a big urgency in the time disparity, but I have a feeling we need to be looking for agenda space.
Yeah, well, and correspondence with Virginia Souza, the chair of that group, she said that that's going to be one of the topics, or one of the items on the agenda is trying to schedule time for
Well, good, then
commission.
I have done my duty and brought it again, and I'll wait to hear what's next.
Okay, thank you.
Should we be attending that meeting?
You're welcome to.
I don't want to talk, I just want to listen.
You'd be welcome to attend. Right now, it's my understanding is tentatively scheduled Friday, September 11th at noon at the Campfire Cabin. It's the beautifiers.
What kind of a day is that?
It's noon, always lunch.
No, the 11th. It's Monday, Tuesday.
It's a
Wednesday.
Friday.
Friday.
Is there any other business? Since there's no further business, we will adjourn. Thank you. Thank you.